Hello everyone and welcome back to Dr. Debt Free. In today's video, we are doing a cash envelope stuffing for the second pay period of March. So if you're new here, this is something new that I'm starting on this channel in hopes of gaining more control of my finances by using more cash instead of debit and credit. So I will be doing these cash envelope stuffing videos every 2 weeks as I get paid every 2 weeks. And there might be some surprise extra ones in there based off of extra side hustle income. But let's start this video out today by counting our cash. And if you're new here, my name is Jess. I am a Canadian who is a chiropractor here up in Canada. So today's video will be in Canadian currency. And so I just came back from the bank, so we're gonna count the cash now. Now, this is the amount of cash that I am stuffing after the money that I have paid all of my bills off with and directed all to my debt payments and such. So I do still have a bit of a cushion in my accounts just in case, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in my March budget recap video. But this is actually what I have budgeted for my cash envelope categories, as well as what I have budgeted for my sinking funds for this month. So if you've been following along the last few months, you'll know that the only sinking fund that I had been working on was my tax saving sinking fund. But today, finally, we are going to start stuffing some of my other sinking funds goals. So starting out with counting the money here, we have 100, 200, 50, 300, 50, 400, 50, 500, 50, 650, 750, 790, 800, 805, and then we have these dollar coins here. So in Canada, we don't have dollar bills. We have what we call here as loonies. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just gonna put all of this money. Put it there. Got a 5 set up, 10 set up, all of our 20s set up, our 50s, and 100. Now I know for some of my American friends out there that our money might look a little bit like Monopoly money, but I love that it's colored because it tends to make it easier to count and keep track of. So we are going to be starting some of our cash envelope stuffing. I did just get this little cash envelope system off of Amazon, and I just finished labeling all my categories. For right now, I have my cash envelopes and my sinking funds all in one binder, but I have a little ruler separator separating my cash envelopes from my sinking funds. So I was really excited to get this in the mail. Along with this, I did end up ordering more erasable pens. These things are the best, especially if you're a perfectionist. I don't really like to use whiteout anymore. And I mean, I haven't used a pencil since I was in elementary school, I think. So it's nice to have pens that are erasable. So I ordered this off Amazon as well. So today I am going to be referencing my Budget by Paycheck by the Budget Mom workbook. This is just the cash envelope breakdown part. And like I said, we budgeted $810 between the cash envelopes and the sinking funds, as well as a little bit for our savings challenges, which we'll go over at the end. So today we're going to start out with our cash envelopes. And the first one I'm going to stuff is groceries, which for the next couple of weeks, I have budgeted $170. So for that we're gonna grab one of our hundreds, a 50, and a 20. So 100, 150, 170 going in our first cash envelope. There we go. Now moving on to our next one. If you've watched my March budget with me, you'll know that I actually did set aside some money for eating out this month. I feel like in the last couple months, I had really been restricting myself, and it had caused me to want to overspend in those categories because I was restricting myself too much. So for the month, I have budgeted $100. So we're just going to put our other $100 bill in there. And the next category is gas, which I know my Canadian friends and my American friends, I'm not really sure about the rest of the world, but we've really been struggling with the cost of gas going up lately. It's pretty much doubled what it was a few months ago, which is absolutely insane. So for the next 2 weeks, I've budgeted 100, as I did just fill up right before the paycheck. So we have 250s going in there. Now, and the reason I budget so much in gas is because my partner and I commute 30 minutes each way to clinic every day, and we work 6 days a week. So we end up going through a lot of gas and a lot of mileage. One of our goals for the next year is to find a place that's a little bit closer to work. That way we're going to be spending less time and less money commuting. So whether that means we're moving in to rent another apartment, or we end up buying a house randomly or a townhouse randomly, we'll see. But hopefully we can find a space that's closer. That way we can save some money and save some time. Now the next category is pet. We have a 1-year-old bull mastiff dog who eats a whole lot of food. He weighs more than me now. So we have budgeted $100 for him for the next 2 weeks, which I actually did in 20s. So $20, $40, $60, $80, $100 going in his little envelope. The nice thing is he is an adult now, or considered an adult. So he did just switch to adult food. But if you've watched a few of my other videos, you'll know that we are getting him to meet up with an animal nutritionist soon, just so that he can be eating the food that's healthiest for him, not necessarily the stuff that's cheapest for us. I want him to live as long as he can. And just like with our health, his health is super important too. And that's something I'm willing to spend money on for him. So the next category is CE, which stands for continuing education. And this is something that I have a monthly membership for, which is $29 a month. So that is what's going in the envelope. So we've got 20, a 5, and then we're going to do 4 ones going in my CE envelope. There we go. Okay, the next one is one of my favorite places to go, Costco. So for Costco and the pharmacy, I've budgeted $100 for the rest of the month of March. And this consists of any meats that we might buy from Costco, or bulk products like cleaning products, garbage bags. We actually buy our dog poop bags from there as well. So I've budgeted $100, which I also did in 5s. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Going in our little Costco cash envelope. So that's all of the cash envelopes that are stuffed. So we're gonna move on to sinking funds. This is something I'm really excited to get started because it was one of my goals for 2022. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it here above. But one of my goals this year was to use sinking funds more often throughout the year. That way you can save up for things before they happen. And I have a lot of sort of big expenses that come out during different parts of the year. And I also just wanted to start saving up for an emergency fund as well. 2 years ago today, up here in Canada and Ontario, I was off for 3 months because of COVID. They weren't letting us work pretty much at all. I had just started practice, so it's not like I had a whole lot of money saved up, and there was still lots of bills to pay. And that was a really scary moment. I felt super helpless as I had a lot of money going out. Fortunately, there was a little help from the government, but my bills were higher than that at the time. So I never ever want to be stuck in that position again. So we're starting this emergency fund. The goal for this year is to have 1 month saved up by the end of the year. And then next year, we're going to work on saving 3 months of expenses by the end of the year. So today, for our emergency fund, sinking fund, we are adding $50. This next one, licensing dues, not a huge priority right now. This is something we'll get into probably at our next cash stuffing video. So we're gonna skip this one for today. Pet health, this is a sinking fund for our dog. He has his annual checkup coming up, as well as it's almost springtime, summertime here. So he usually starts on tick medication this time of year. So because that's coming up, it's more of a high priority. We're putting $50 into this sinking fund. Now next, same thing goes with my car. I have a car service coming up, I think probably in the next 2.5 months. And also an oil change coming up. So I want to make sure that I have enough money saved up for that, just in case there ever happens to be anything wrong with my car. Cars are super expensive. Fortunately, insurance covers a lot of it, but that's not something I want to stress over when I can be relaxing and working, okay? So for this cash stuffing, I budgeted $50 towards car maintenance. And then gifts. This is a sinking fund that I really wish I had going over the last couple months, because the last couple of months were really full of lots of baby showers and birthdays. But this is something I don't need to worry about for this one, as I don't have any fun events coming up at least until July. So this is something that I can rest easy on for the next little bit. So I'm not putting anything in the gift sinking fund this week. But travel, this is a new one that I added into my sinking fund goals as of this week. We are going to be heading on a trip during May long weekend here. And so I did pay for the Airbnb. I paid the half. The other half will be coming out in about a month and a half. So I want to make sure that I have enough saved up at that point of time to pay off that other half, as well as an extra little bit so that we can have some spending money to go out for dinner, to do little excursions while we're there. So for this week, I put $50 in my travel sinking fund. Okay, so just going over everything. For this cash stuffing for the next 2 weeks of March, we stuffed $200 in my sinking funds, and we stuffed about $799 in my cash envelopes to be spent over the next 2 weeks. So with that, total being $810, we have $11 left that we can use towards our savings challenge. And if you haven't seen my 100 envelopes little setup video, I'll link that here in the space above. But here is my little homemade box of 100 envelopes for the 100 envelope challenge. And last week we filled the $50 envelope, and today we're going to be filling 2 envelopes as well. So we're going to do the $1 and the $10. So 2 beautiful light blue envelopes. So in the $1 envelope, I'm just gonna put our loonie, and I'm gonna fold up the bill here and put that in the $10 envelope. Okay, so these are just gonna head over here, back with our little 50. So we got 3 filled so far. If you missed that 100 envelope video, you'll know that once all of these envelopes are filled with their designated amounts, or the amounts that correspond with what's on the front of the envelope, the total that will be in the envelopes is $5,050. So it's a super exciting amount that, like I said, I'm not really sure what I'll do with just yet. And I think it depends on the timing of when I finish these envelopes. My goal is to do around at least 2 per week. So that would get us into about March, early April of next year that I would be done this. So I'm probably either going to make a big debt payment towards one of my debts, or maybe this will go to an investing or savings goal. We'll just have to see. All right, so if you've made it this far, thank you for tuning in for my first cash envelope stuffing for both my cash envelopes and my sinking funds. This is something that I'm gonna do every paycheck, which for me is twice per month. I do use debit and credit cards. So I will be using some of those for certain expenses, like for gas and groceries. But what I'm going to do is each week, I'm probably going to do a cash unstuffing video where I will take the money out of the cash envelope system and pay those cards back. That way, it's really, really hard to go overboard with credit cards, and you have a visual idea of how much you have to spend with the cash envelope system. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And if you are new to this channel, you made it this far, you like cash envelope stuffing videos, maybe you're a Canadian, feel free to like and subscribe to this video for more Canadian currency cash stuffing videos, debt payoff, and thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.